Goodbye, my, wait, 1, 2, 3, that's only 4 things. To focus, that's 5 things. I am a mess today. Hello, fiber friends. Today's video is all about 5 things that I'm leaving behind and 6 things that I am welcoming in 2026. I can no longer say 5 things I'm leaving behind in 2025 because I didn't quite get it all cleared off my agenda in 2025. But anyway, here I am, and number 1 is whips. Now, I have been super proud of myself. For the past 7 days, I have only been working on one project, and it's an extremely slow one. I would love to show it to you right now. It is this hooded scarf that I am working on. It's beautiful. This, from previous videos you may have seen me working on, it was a very mindless, making 28.5 inches of a 2-row repeat. Then I started to do increases. Just let me show you how beautiful that is. Which required a little bit of concentration. And then I did short rows right around here. You can see where it's bending. That also required quite a bit of concentration. And the last, well, the second to last part are the decrease rows. There are 80 of them, of which I have only finished 13. So I have a little bit of ways to go, but I'm gonna say, like, once I finish the decrease rows and this becomes kind of a mindless project again, that is when I am giving myself permission to tackle the other whips. I have 2 other projects on my desk, and I'm pointing to the corner of this room where I still have my whip bag of doom. I am leaving the whip bag of doom behind, one thing at a time, and that is also a future video of which I am gonna call Fix, Frog, Finish, or Forgo, because some things just kind of need to go in the trash. Which brings me to the second thing that I am leaving behind, which is inconsistent data collection. I started keeping a square inventory in October of this year. Prior to that, I would just add up the prices on the price tag and type in that amount in square and then charge the customer, and I would chicken scratch what sold. Now, my problem was I never really went back and looked at my messy notes, and I still don't want to rely on Square for my inventory because I'm sticking to this. I do not want to put cash purchases in Square because I don't want to deal with change and coins. If it's a cash transaction, I just want it to be, you know, $17 even and just collect paper bills. I do not want to collect change and have to have the right change to give back to people and still be able to file taxes quarterly as I am supposed to do. So what I will need to do is do a better job. Yes, I'm going to continue to write down what people purchased in cash, but then also keep a separate spreadsheet of what actually sold at each market, and then also keep a running tally throughout the year of, example, how many ducks did I sell and how many strawberry keychains did I sell. And I think in order to make that a little bit more organized, I also really need to just do fewer one-offs so I don't have like 100 rows on my spreadsheet of things that are selling. Third thing I'm leaving behind in 2025, no traffic markets. I had a terrible habit all year long of signing up for a market thinking, oh, this is only a $40 entrance fee, and then just going somewhere, setting up a tent, setting up all my stuff, tearing it down a couple hours later to have only made like $100. I am fortunate that I have actually never lost money at a market. Every time I've ever paid for a market, I have at least met booth fee, maybe not much more. And there were a few times that I went to a market and sold nothing, but at least those were free to participate in. I did get very lucky one time and ended up being at a market just as a No Kings March was finishing, and people were just like walking through this area and very pumped with adrenaline and excited. And I ended up selling a ton at a market that probably otherwise wouldn't have been very busy. Now, I am learning which markets in the area get foot traffic and which are worth the higher booth fee. I'm gonna say it right here, and maybe one of the other things that I need to bring into the new year is actually keeping my promises, but I want to limit myself to one market per month. I would also like to do a multi-day market, but that's gonna only count as one. But really the thing that I am leaving behind is taking a gamble on a $40 or $60 market that just ends up having no traffic. I deserve better for my product to be in places where people are going to show up with a mindset to shop. And finally, the last thing that I'm leaving behind in 2025 is what I am calling a thrift store vibe to my tent. Now, of course, it started that way when I first started doing markets in late 2024. I was just doing it for fun. I did not want to spend a whole ton of money on these small markets where I was starting out, and I really didn't have that much product by then. And frankly, when I think back on it, my product was terrible. I am so much better at the stuff that I make now, but couple things that I want to do. I want to replace the black tablecloths with white ones. I want to have just a cohesive one color to everything. My tent canopy is white, so I want to get like white tablecloths, a white grid wall, and just have everything look very neat and cohesive, and it be abundantly clear when somebody walks by, what is it that I sell? So goodbye whips. Goodbye poor data collection, goodbye crappy markets, goodbye wait, 1, 2, 3, that's only 4 things. The last thing that I'm getting rid of in 2025 is my uncontrollable amount of yarn. I have yarn piled in bags, I have balls of yarn in several different places. I have yarn that I know I'm never gonna use. So at some point, I want all of my yarn to actually fit into these 16 cubes right here. I think they're called Calex. It's from IKEA. I just want to know exactly what I have and be able to pull it. And we all say this, I do want to go as long as I possibly can without buying any yarn and using what I have to make things. That may mean I'm putting plushies aside for a little while because I do have way more acrylic and cotton yarn than I do plush yarn, but that's okay because I'm kind of wanting to expand what I sell. 5 things I'm leaving behind. A big pile of whips, poor data collection, crappy markets, my tent looking like a thrift shop, and an uncontrollable amount of yarn. Which brings me to 6 things that I want to bring into 26, and they are kind of related. So when I said that I don't want to have a whole bunch of whips anymore, I, moving forward, would like to have a small, maybe like 5 to 10 bread and butter items that I can mass produce and that I know people like, and just to have a whole bunch of them set up very neatly at a market. So things that I'm considering are the keychains like the strawberry and the Pop-Tart, the octos, the whale. I would also like to focus not just a whole bunch of one-offs. I do want to keep doing pattern testing, which does lead oftentimes to a one-off. But if it does not sell after 2-3 markets, it's going to go in a clearance bin. And just keep neatly, this is what I offer. One of the things that I said I'm leaving behind in 2025 is poor data collection. So with having just a small number of bread and butter items and a few specialty items, I just want to have a very tidy spreadsheet of what I have, what dollar amount do I have in my inventory, and log it every time I finish something. When I finish a market, go in, look at what my cash sales were, remove that from the spreadsheet, and just even monthly be able to say like, okay, this is how much I made, this is how much I sold, and this is how much I spent on yarn. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna like advertise how much I profited each month. I'm kind of having like mixed feelings about that, but I do just want to know for myself, am I making money? Because right now, honestly, like, I don't know. I'm not keeping track. I said 5 things that I'm leaving behind are these crappy markets with no foot traffic. And so what I am bringing in, like I said, I'm going to try really hard to limit my energy to one high quality market per month. It is not worth the effort to go out, drive somewhere, put the tent up, set up the table, set up the stuff, pack it all away to make fewer than $500. I'm hoping at some point I see a $1,000 market, and if I focus on fewer events, fewer products, and a higher volume of fewer products, I really do think that that is feasible. 6 things that I'm welcoming are a focus on bread and butter items, keeping good data, a focus on better markets, cohesiveness inside of the tent, and the last thing that no, that's 5 things. The next thing that I want to bring into 2026 is what I am calling boomerang sales. I don't know, there may be an actual real marketing term. Maybe that is something else I need to bring in, is a better knowledge of how to market and promote things. I do still feel like I'm extremely ignorant in that area. Like, I don't know how to drive people to a website, but that is the kind of stuff that I'm going to learn. So what that means is that when I am at a high quality market with lots of foot traffic and people ask me, because I get this all the time, do you have a card? I want my answer to be, why, yes, I do. And to hand it to them, and to not just have like my name and contact information, but also QR codes to a link tree, a discount code for a website. Of course, that also means I have to get that website in order. I bought a domain and I worked on a Shopify store, and I just found it like very difficult. And honestly, like, I was focusing on market prep, which was probably a bad idea. And that whole online thing went aside, but that is definitely something that I want to bring into 2026. So the last thing that I want to bring into 2026 is using what I have. And that is going to mean, for a little while, like, I have that whole hoard of cotton yarn that I got for a really great price. Well, I need to make things with that cotton yarn and get all this yarn pared down, and any equipment, if I'm not using it, it's going to go. Now, I do want to give some things another chance. Like, I have the Michaels version of the Centro knitting machine. I tried it a couple times. I did not like the fabric that cranked out of it, but that might have been my yarn choice. I also didn't like how it kept skipping stitches, and I didn't know how to fix it, so I kind of just like abandoned that knitting machine. I am going to bring it out and give it an honest try one more time. If I don't like it, I'm going to sell it. I have a bunch of yarn that is in a box with the intention to cut up and use for scraps and to, use for stuffing. After a couple months, like, once I get all these other piles cleared away, if I'm not going to do that, it's either going to go in the trash or it is going to go be sold to someone who will use it. I am a mess today. 6 things that I'm bringing into 2026. Number 1, is a focus on bread and butter items. Number 2, careful data collection. Number 3, focusing only on high quality markets. Number 4, getting rid of that thrift store vibe and having everything cohesive and neat and very clear about what it is that I sell. I've been knitting too much. My hand just totally cramped up when I did that. Number 5, opportunity for boomerang sales. And number 6, using what I have and having what I use. If you made it this far into the video, I want to say thank you for sticking around. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please, it helps me a lot if you click that button down below that says subscribe. If you are still here, please comment 2026 and give this video a thumbs up. And I got a whole bunch of other videos, so I'm going to leave a playlist for you. Stick around. Don't wait for the next one.